Aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper?
What's up, nerds? Welcome to another episode of the Multiverse Report. We are recapping the week's nerdy news from Galifrey to Skaro and everywhere in between. My name is Mike Gibson. With me, as always, Steve Haller. What's up, Steve?
More technical difficulties since I just had the video all screwed up, but we're good now.
We're good now?
We are great.
Okay, we're live and we're recording and everything?
We are. It just,
Awesome.
It's one of those days. Had my kid up at 5 this morning puking, and other than that, we're good.
Ooh.
Yeah, he was done by 8, and then he was a wild rolling dervish the rest of the day, so.
Wow.
Here we
Up
are.
at 5 alone is bad. Up at 5 and puking, even worse.
Yeah, bad
Way
combo.
worse.
Bad combo.
Bad combo.
Not to be
Bad
confused with
combo.
brave combo.
Oh, yeah. Now we're talking. We'll talk about Brave Combo all you want.
It's our spin-off podcast about various accordion-based music.
Yeah, polka influenced rock and roll from Denton, Texas. Look them up, folks. Brave Combo, one of the best Christmas albums that exists. By the way, since I mentioned it, what a segue. Holiday season full swing. Happy holidays, everybody. We're in December 4th, the eve of Krampusnacht. So if you've been bad, you might get a visit from Krampus tomorrow and get either kidnapped, beaten with sticks, or eaten, depending on which version you believe in.
Maybe all three?
Maybe all three. Hey.
If you're really lucky.
Yeah, you'll get kidnapped, tenderized by being beaten with sticks before eaten.
Well, yeah, you can't
Makes
just
sense.
roast them on the spit every time. Like, you got to,
Yeah,
Krampus needs
one
his-
does desire some variety,
Yeah.
even a Krampus. A variety in their food. Now that we've gotten through all that, I should say that this podcast is sponsored by Punky Town Comics. Do they still want to sponsor us after we've been talking about Krampuses eating people live?
Knowing our
yeah.
our audience, yeah, they
Even-
still do.
Even more so, probably. Yeah, check out Funky Town Comics in Camillus, New York. If you want to check things out, you can also be checking out our interview with comic writer Simon Birks, which happened last week. It is available now. It should be in your very same podcast feed that you're listening to this in, or YouTube feed that you're watching this in.
Mm-hmm.
You can watch us talk to him. You can listen to us talk to him. It was about a 30-minute episode. Not too long at all. We covered a lot. Talked a lot about his current series, Antarctica, which is being published from Top Cow and Image Comics. Talked about kind of his writing process and where those ideas kind of came from. We talked about the importance of representation in comics and a whole bunch of stuff that's he kind of teased what's to be expected in the future of that series and some other stuff he's working on. So go listen to that. It's a fun talk. And Steve and I are hoping to do some more of those. And it's looking like we might be getting the chance. So stay tuned for more TMR talks is what we're calling them right now. The
Yeah.
Multiverse Report talks with other creators.
And that I can say Antarctica, if you have a chance, if you enjoy comics, you have a chance to pick it up. It is not just because we were talking to Simon. It is a really cool premise for a series. So I've
Yeah.
only read the first arc, but well, that's the only thing that's out. So I guess that's the only thing we're gonna read.
True. You're all caught up. So am I.
I'm right to the top, so we're good.
Yeah. So what are we talking about tonight? We're talking about some Marvel stuff, some Disney CEO stuff, a little section I like to call TRAILERPALOOZA. 4 trailers worthy of talking about came out this week. Talking about some horror updates, little tangent into the horror community this week.
Not
And we
involving
have comics
Krampus.
reviews and all that kind of stuff. What's that?
I said not involving Krampus.
Not involving Krampus. Although I am planning on watching that movie
Mm.
tomorrow for the first time. I've never seen Krampus. I've heard mixed things about it, but it just seems like it's a good time. Like
It's perfectly
Adam Scott,
in your
Toni
alley.
Collette. Yeah.
It's a
Exactly.
Christmas horror movie. What more do you want?
Well, I want it to be good.
Well, fair.
And then
We'll also be talking about
there
something
was
similar.
the point where I went over to
Simon?
LA
Yeah,
to
that
sit
is.
down.
Simon,
with
here.
Anybody
the,
wants a preview of
Top Cow
our
people.
discussion? That was overdubbed. So on the back end. But
I thought he was back for a second.
yeah, that's everybody who's watching and or listening's free preview of the Simon Birks interview that you should go listen to. But yeah, we'll actually talk later about a Christmas horror book that
Sure will.
I own, you own, and you've read, and I have not. So
Yeah, we sure will. So
stay tuned for that for the comic reviews.
Yeah. Real quick before we dive into the rundown, I gotta say, just to shout it out, I don't know, Steve, if you noticed the locations I said at the beginning, Galifrey and Skaro. I feel like you're probably not familiar with those locations. Those are locations from the world of Doctor Who. And I put those on there because I watched the first Doctor Who special on Disney Plus. I believe there's going to be 4 of them before the new season comes out of Doctor Who. This is 4 specials featuring the return of David Tennant to the role of the Doctor and Catherine Tate to the role of Donna Noble as, what do they call them? Not assistants, companions.
Yep, there you go.
I haven't watched Doctor Who in years. It's been a long time since I've watched Doctor Who. I used to love it. I was obsessed with it for a long time. Big David Tennant guy, big into the Matt Smith. I really liked Peter Capaldi as well, and I kind of fell off during his seasons. Just the first of this special that it's on Disney Plus right now. It's an hour long. Second one's already out. I haven't watched the second one yet. First one, my wife and I watched last night. Both of us. It immediately took us back and reminded us about everything we loved about Doctor Who in just the absolute best ways. It was like an immediate return to, oh my God, this is the thing that I love, that I've been missing from my life, and now it's back, and I'm filled with joy. It was just the greatest. I loved it. I can't recommend it enough. If you are someone that used to watch Doctor Who and fell out of it like me, if you're someone that gave up a long time ago, or if you're someone that's been chugging along and just, I heard that the last couple seasons, the writing wasn't very good. If you gave up during the Jodie Whittaker stuff, get back on. It's great. It's a great special. Highly recommend. I can't wait to watch the second one.
Yeah, I had heard that those kind of fell off to no fault of her own.
Yeah, I heard that she was really great, but the writing just wasn't there. And that
when you do 75 better series, you'd think
someone's gonna run out of ideas,
right?
Yeah,
like there was already the pre-Matt Smith lull. So,
no, pre-Matt Smith was David Tennant. So
no,
I would say
so whatever brought it back there in the what was it, late 90s, early 2000s.
It was 2005, I think, when it came back. But yeah. But anyway, how sometimes you love something. I mean, this was only it was less than 15 years ago, maybe 10 years ago. So it wasn't that long ago that I was watching it all the time. Something you love something really intensely for a while and then you fall off of it. And then sometimes you look back, you're like, oh, that was probably just because of where I was in my life, or you don't feel like you're going to connect with it as much. And this was just bam,
right,
nope,
back
this
to
is still in my heart. So that was great. Great experience watching that. Speaking of something I hope I have a great experience watching, but I don't know, because it seems really up in the air right now. Avengers Kang Dynasty. We spoke within the last, week or two about how Avengers Kang Dynasty lost both its director, Destin Daniel Cretton, as well as its alarm going off my phone to move my son's elf. Anyway, I already did it. Don't worry. It's already done. Lost its director, Destin Daniel Cretton, and lost its writer, Jeff Loveness, hinting kind of a massive creative overhaul for this film, possibly having to do with the legal issues surrounding who we assume will be a star, or the star of the film, Jonathan Majors as Kang. Those legal issues haven't gone anywhere yet. Still sticking around, still dealing with it. My guess is that eventually this movie is going to be called something else other than Avengers Kang Dynasty.
Yeah.
And they will be announcing that once the new writer, Michael Waldron, hands in a draft or an outline or something. And there's a different story. And they'll be saying, oh, wait, sorry. It's not called Kang Dynasty anymore. It's called this. It's called Rise of Doctor Doom or something. He's replacing Jeff Loveness. Michael Waldron has been kind of in the Disney camp for a little bit, and specifically with the Marvel camp. He was the writer and showrunner of the first season of Loki. He was the writer of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, and he also is currently writing Avengers Secret Wars. So Marvel clearly really likes this guy. Like I said, I know a lot of people love Loki season 1. I was kind of on Loki season 1. I like the look of it. I definitely think it felt different than other Marvel stuff, and especially season 2 did as well. And I'm on the record saying I love season 2, even though Michael Waldron doesn't seem to be involved with it. But I'm mixed on Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness. Some cool stuff, but some, I don't know. That movie to me just reeks of like studio interference, kind of, and trying to rein in Sam Raimi in all the wrong ways. But overall plot, not that bad. Some of it's executed poorly, I think. But so I don't know. I'm kind of mixed on those two things. But what I really do like is I like that the same person is writing Avengers Kang Dynasty and Avengers Secret Wars. I think that's what gave us such a strong connectivity between things like the Captain America movies into Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, because those were all Russo's and Martin and McFeely writing and directing all those movies. As like this kind of same creative team, and it kind of gave us that like through line. So hopefully they're able to wrangle something like that by having this guy write these two movies. Avengers Kang Dynasty currently has a release date of May 1st, 2026. It was supposed to be 2025. I'm going to move to 2026, but they just announced a new writer. Means the script is not done.
Yeah, it's kind of tough to have a script if we don't have anyone writing it.
Yeah. And it's kind of tough to make a movie if you don't have a script. And Marvel certainly has found that out the hard way.
No, Mike. It's not hard to make a movie without a script. It's hard to make a good movie without a script.
Thank you for correcting me. That is very accurate.
Because Marvel has learned that you can make many movies without scripts.
Yeah, and they've been lucky for a lot of those times. It has worked out for them.
Yeah.
But as we've talked about a lot of times lately on the podcast, the bloom is off the rose as far as Marvel goes, and people aren't just flocking to the theater to see anything with the Marvel brand anymore. It used to be just, if there was a Marvel thing in the theaters, I'm going to see it. Now,
right. Especially
not so much.
As we've seen this week, Disney is officially not announcing any more numbers for the Marvels, which will run through New Year's, but it will officially be the worst performing Marvel movie of all time, including The Incredible Hulk.
Only Marvel movie to not make over $100 million domestically at the box office.
Yep.
And again, I'll say this a million times, box office numbers, not necessarily an indicator of quality. I don't think I've seen any review of that movie, any good faith review of that movie, that said it was bad. Everyone I said it was like either fun, light, but a good time, to people genuinely loving it. So, I think it's a combination of, misogynists who hate 3 women leading a movie. And I think it's a combination of people being sick of Marvel stuff in general, or overwhelmed with superhero stuff, Marvel stuff. And also just there's a whole contingency of people that are like, I'll just wait till it's on streaming.
Right. And I think
for everything.
I think, the first point you brought up is a valid point, and there are a distinct number of folks in that vein. The latter two, especially that middle one, Marvel Overdrive for so many years.
Yeah.
And with diminishing returns, like
right.
It's the standard. It's the standard. Studios they learn lessons, but not the right lessons.
Right.
Like Thor: Love and Thunder. There was a lot of mess surrounding Thor: Love and Thunder, and it, in general, not being a good movie. Good parts. I enjoyed pieces of the puzzle.
Sure,
but
same.
Overall was not a good film.
Still
made a boatload of money at the box office, but instead of instead of correcting based on what the actual critique of the movie is, they just were like, well, we kept making money off it. Let's just keep putting it out. And in doing so, you start to, and from then, they even ramped up more and more things coming out with diminishing returns on quality. And what you end up doing is like almost poisoning your own brand of like, well, we got another mediocre at best. Legitimately, but you put out another mediocre at best movie, and like the more and more you do that, the less and less people are going to see it. And here we are putting out a movie that's on the better side of things that they've put out in recent years.
Yeah.
And it
People
looks
aren't even
really
giving it a
bad
chance.
because people aren't even going to see it. Like
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if like, and they're the only ones that'll ever know, but if the Disney Plus numbers on it actually end up looking quite good.
Oh yeah.
But nobody's going to go to see it in the theater because they've been, The Boy Who Cried Wolf happened a couple too many times.
Yeah. Also, I mean, we can't discount the fact that there was less promotion for this movie because it came out right at the end of a 6 to 8 month long strike, where promotion wasn't happening, or in-person promotion wasn't happening. Yeah, there were trailers and there was TV spots, but you don't have Oscar winner Brie Larson on all the talk shows and podcasts and stuff promoting it. So that's definitely a big part of it as well. But yeah, I think it's not even a thing where to what you were saying, Steve. It's not even a thing where if like we were still getting this much Marvel content and we were still overwhelmed with the amount of stuff that we are getting from Marvel, but it was all great.
Yeah,
it'd be a different story.
Very.
It would be, if I'd be like, oh, I can't believe I have to go see, Thor: Love and Thunder. I'm so burnt out, but then I'm just like, oh, I'm glad I went. That was a great time. Of course, it's great. It's Marvel. Like, I don't know why I'm so, they're just so much, but they nail it every time. That's a different story. Yeah, but like I said, I think the bloom was off the rose. So, real quick, I mean, that our conversation would have been a perfect segue into the next topic we were going to talk about. But real quick, Steve, jumping back to Kang Dynasty, do you think this movie hits a release date of May 1st, 2026?
No.
Me either.
I mean, like, there's no point in even elaborating. Like, they have no writer, they have no story. Their star is embroiled in a.
Well, they do have a writer. They just don't have a script.
Right. They have nothing written.
Yeah.
And yes, I'm sure they have whatever was being worked on by Loveness, but who knows to what degree that's actually going to be utilized or be able to be utilized based on if they're pivoting, as a lot of rumors seem to suggest.
Yeah, and we don't like. There still seems like a lot of chaos going on at the MCU, and I don't think we've seen the last of things being delayed, things that have already been announced. And I know that post-strike they announced new dates for, Captain America 4 and Thunderbolts and Blade and all that stuff, but I'm not so sure that they're going to hit those dates. I feel like those dates might move again, and I feel like if the movies keep losing money, I think I read some article that said the only Disney movie that's on track to make a profit is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 that was released this year. Everything else underperformed.
Right. And it's
Disney.
What
Disney.
The first year in 15 that they haven't had a $1 billion grossing movie, or since 15 that they haven't had a $1 billion grossing movie.
Yeah. I mean, the landscape is changing for sure in general. And maybe it's swinging away from superhero movies, at least for like a little bit. Or maybe it's just swinging away from Marvel movies. So we'll be a big indicator when Superman Legacy comes out and see what Marvel has done between now and then.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I also am I will be very surprised if this movie hits a May 1st, 2026. Because of whatever kind of buildup they have to do to get to an Avengers movie.
Yep.
They certainly haven't done it yet. So they got to do all that, whether that happens in the context of other films or in post-credit scenes. They really got to get something together. And start building some momentum and build some threads, because they like the one thing they don't have right now is momentum. I feel like they're like at an all-time low of just like people wanting to know what happens next. You know what I mean? Like, that was the whole point. It was like the MCU was like a TV show. You got to see every episode to get the whole story. And now it's like, oh, I'll skip that one because
the
other ones are
talked
bad.
about it too. Like in modern times, like I know Marvel's first family is still the Fantastic Four, but in modern times, is even the Fantastic Four movie enough to move the needle?
No, 100% no.
Right.
Not at all.
Like
everyone's saying that they're like banking on Fantastic Four and X-Men, but like, yo, they should be banking on X-Men, period.
Right.
Fantastic Four is a huge question mark because comic fans, Marvel fans, MCU fans will be excited about it.
No, but
General public?
Even then, comic fans, like, when's the last time there's been a good Fantastic Four run?
I don't know.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
And I
But
know
so,
if
so
Mike
not
Held is
even all
listening to
comic
this,
fans.
he may have problem with that, but it's been a good bit since there's been a good Fantastic Four run.
Yeah. So not even all comic fans will be into it. And, you know, I feel like there's diehard MCU people that are stoked about Fantastic Four and can't wait and continue to talk about it and theorize about it online. But I feel like they're like a loud minority of people who like super duper care about Fantastic Four. If they can pull it off, great. But we've said this before and we've said it recently. General public, they've seen 3 crappy Fantastic Four movies.
Yeah.
So is the audience going to be there for a 4th one? I don't know. It was like we were talking about the DCU with like, okay, you know, there's a lot of good press around the Flash and good buzz around the Flash, but like, yeah, sure, some people liked it, some people hated it, but nobody went to see it. The biggest problem with that movie was that no one went.
Yeah. And
I think no one went mostly because they're sick of the DCEU. They're sick of all the stuff that's started. They see the guy that's connected to, you know, General Zod is in that movie, which is connected to Batman vs. Superman and Man of Steel and all that stuff that, like, we already didn't like that. We're not going to go back for more. So this might be the same kind of thing. I didn't like the first 3 Fantastic Four movies. I don't care if this is different. I don't like those characters. I gave those characters 3 shots and I'm not interested in them. This is another one. Like, that's a big question mark.
Right. I
driving it. David should be speeding towards X-Men as fast as possibly can. X-Men, I think, is their like, I mean, it's not like the save. Like, I don't think, I know, I've been really down on the MCU lately. I don't think they're like completely beyond saving. I don't think they're down and out. They can get their stuff back together. They just have to like
make good movies.
Really pull back on the amount of stuff that they're putting out. Like, give us like 2 banger movies in a year. Give us like 1 in the summer and 1 in the fall.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, I don't care if I don't get another Disney Plus show. And, you know, maybe you give us a Disney Plus show like in January, maybe 1. Give me 1. Then give me a banger movie in the summer. Give me a banger movie in the fall. And that's it. And then next year you do the same thing. The year after that, you give me an Avengers movie. Figure it out. Make that happen. You know?
Yeah.
You got to really pull it back and make me care about it. And you got to make me invest in these characters. And you got to make me invest in the story that you're telling. Right now, you're all over the place. No one knows what story you're telling.
Yeah. Do they even know what story they're telling?
I don't think they do, especially now, because they just fired the guy that was writing that story.
Well, yeah.
And they got a new guy.
Minor details, you know.
Minor details. Anyway, we were talking about the Marvels earlier, and we were theorizing as to why the Marvels didn't work at the box office.
Is that where we were before that tangent?
It is where we were before that. We went back and I said, how about one more quick thing before I move on? And then we talked for 10 minutes. But
well, yeah, we never do that, Mike.
Of all the things that you and I just mentioned as to reasons why the Marvels may have underperformed at the box office, did you notice, I know, eagle eye listeners or eagle eye viewers may notice that neither Steve and I said anything about how we think the number of executives on set while filming that movie may have had some kind of effect on the box office numbers of that movie. Why didn't we say that? Because that sounds really stupid. Really stupid. But guess who thinks that? Bob Iger, CEO of Disney, gave an interview this past week saying blaming the underwhelming performance of the Marvels on the fact that there weren't enough Disney execs on set during filming. Quote, there wasn't as much supervision on the set, so to speak, where we have executives really looking over what's being done day after day after day.
Really? Cool.
What? What does that have to do with anything? Executives make things worse.
So Bob Iger's living the you go out the hero or you live long enough to become the villain.
100%. 100%. Dude should have stayed retired. Like, I know the guy after him, Chapek, was like screwing things up.
Right, screwed things up far worse than even what Iger's doing now. But like,
they should have just gotten a different guy.
Room. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like brought Iger in as a quick interim fix and then just been like, all right, you be the figurehead that says the right things for like a year and then we're moving on.
Yeah. And that's not the only boneheaded quote he gave this week. He also said something, I couldn't find the exact quote, but all reports saying that he also said something about how blaming like Disney's poor performance, that saying executives have lost sight of their goals and have been focused, and they need to start focusing on entertainment over positive messages. Like, messages in a movie are great, but like number one thing needs to be entertainment. And like, I don't really know what you're saying. Like, are you caving to people that are calling like Disney woke or like whatever bullshit? And like, can you name me a Disney movie that doesn't have a positive message? Like a classic Disney film that doesn't have some kind of like moral or lesson. Like, they're all based on fairy tales. Like, what are we talking about, Bob Iger? Do you know what you're talking about?
Right. Even the depressing ones are like ultimately positive messages.
Yeah. I mean, because he didn't say politics or anything. So I don't know. Like, what are you saying? What are you saying? You do need to retire. And he also said that he's not going to renew his CEO ship when his contract runs out or whatever. He's going to be done. And he wants to be done. And I think that's good because I think he has overstayed his welcome.
Yeah. Open mouth, insert foot.
Like, only an executive would think that it would be better if that only an executive would think that more executives make movies better. Because like, I haven't talked to one creative person that thinks like the suits that they work for are the real geniuses behind creativity on any kind of set or production or anything like that. Like, I don't think that anybody thinks that other than people that get paid to think that.
Yeah, you know who else doesn't think that?
Yeah, who?
Neil Gaiman.
Yeah, Neil Gaiman. This situation about the executives being on set somehow found its way to Neil Gaiman on the Blue Sky app.
You may have heard of him before.
Yes, Neil Gaiman, famed author of novels and comics and all kinds of media, writer of The Sandman, writer of Good Omens, those kinds of things.
American Gods.
That we all love here. American Gods, yes, is another great one. Someone asked Neil Gaiman what he thought of this, and he said, and I quote, I've watched the Disney development process up close for the last 12 years as Disney has failed to get the Graveyard book made, one of his stories. Clearly, they're trying to adapt it. It's not working out. He continues to say, I can confidently say that I do not believe the problems have ever been not enough Disney executives were involved. However, quick side note that speaking of Neil Gaiman, was announced this week that Sandman Season 2 has officially begun production on Netflix. So we have that to look forward to. But I think Neil Gaiman's right on. Like, he's exactly the kind of person I'm talking about. Like, he's a creative. He's involved in, like, the creative side. Executives in their notes just kind of usually muck things up. And I don't understand where Bob Iger thinks that makes sense.
No, and
I think he's just he just seems like he's somebody that is so far removed from the creative process that he doesn't really know how out of touch he sounds anymore. You know what I mean?
Also, for the record, usually Neil Gaiman has an appropriate opinion on things.
Yeah, Neil Gaiman's a smart guy.
Yeah,
big fan. He
does pretty well. He also has the nerd version of the EGOT with the Hugo, Nebula, and Bram Stoker awards, as well as Newbery and Carnegie medals.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's like it's got to be like the nerd EGOT.
For sure.
Do you have an award you can hand this guy? Okay, here you go.
There you go.
No Eisner, but that's the only thing not in his cap, I think.
He doesn't have an Eisner?
Not in the immediate Wikipedia section. So I will.
Oh man.
I will do some more digging and get back to you on that.
Get Neil Gaiman an Eisner.
Oh no, he did.
Oh okay.
Oh Jesus, he has
Multiple.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15,
Oh boy.
16, 17, 18, 19.
That sounds more
19
right. That's
Eisners.
correct. That sounds more correct.
Yep. Inkpot for the for global achievement as well. Yeah. Oh yeah. No,
Awesome.
never mind.
Good for him.
Some
There we go.
Locuses, a couple Harveys.
Man,
Yeah.
he's got them all.
If there's an award to hand out, he's got it.
He's got it. Do you have anything more to say about Bob Iger being dumb?
Bob Iger is dumb.
Yeah.
And like I said, like when he took back over, everyone was like, "Oh yeah, this is gonna be great."
Yeah.
And
we're
I was just like,
thank
"Oh
God.
shit, what is he doing?"
What are you doing, dude? What are you doing? Also, real quick, David Zaslav said something dumb this week about how he called the move to cancel Batgirl courageous. It was a courageous thing that he did. Pat himself on the back. What an idiot.
Well, making $500 million a year to
Dumb.
is that going to be our new? We can have a new recurring segment, executive saying dumb shit.
I hope not. I hate talking about executives saying dumb shit. I want everything to move smoothly so executives don't have to say anything about anything and I don't have to think about them.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah. Want to talk about some trailers?
I think I do.
All right. Trailer Palooza is what I wrote on the rundown.
Sunday,
kick it off with-
Sunday.
Exactly. Let's kick it off with some Godzilla Kong. It's not Godzilla versus Kong. It's just Godzilla with a little X. It's not Godzilla times Kong. Yeah. It's just Godzilla Kong, I think. Interesting. This movie looks insane. Looks insane in a great way that I love.
Yeah, go for it for a bit, and I'll.
Well, I'm a fan of these MonsterVerse movies,
Mhm.
and I think they've gotten increasingly more insane as they've gone along. The first Godzilla, I feel like almost the first three, kind of, you could say more or less take place in reality, and the only non-reality thing is that there's a giant monster. The first two for sure, or like first Godzilla movie and Kong Skull Island, 100%. This is real reality. We're real people, and the only thing that's weird is that there's giant monsters attacking them. Then starts to get a little more into the weirdness with Godzilla monsters, which I still like that movie. But then Godzilla versus Kong is just like batshit crazy, wild, insane. So many things that could never happen. But again, in a way that I'm just like, this is big and dumb and fun. And I love watching a giant lizard punch a giant ape. This is great. This looks to continue more of that vibe, where Kong somehow runs afoul of a giant orangutan, whose origins we do not know. There's also a tiny, cute baby orangutan
and
in this.
ultimately an army of orangutan.
Is it an army of orangutan or is it an army of other apes? Kong apes.
I
don't
don't
know. I mean,
don't know.
Spoilers.
I saw
Spoilers
it
for the
once.
end. Okay, spoilers for the end of Godzilla versus Kong, but Kong ends up living in I can't remember what they call it, like Hollow Earth.
Yeah,
Like there's a hollow, yeah. And I think there's other giant monsters there. So I believe maybe he's there and he's like ruling all these other monsters or whatever that live there. That's what I thought from the shots of the trailers. Couldn't tell if they were an evil herd or a bad herd of giant monsters. But anyway, there are multiples. You're right.
right.
He's got some kind of like mechanical hand. I think I remember him hurting his hand at the end of Godzilla versus Kong. So he's got some
And
giant
he had that
mech
in some shots, but not
arm
others.
thing. Oh, okay. So maybe it happens in this movie. That makes sense.
Like when there was that big leap of faith across the ravine there. There was
didn't.
It was
You're right.
just a giant ass ape.
All right. So he definitely gets it in the movie then.
Yep. So this is part of the the MonsterVerse stuff, which
Yes.
they're all kind of coming out, and like how Monarch fits into this, fits into whatever. It's like, I don't know. They're all technically MonsterVerse movies.
I haven't watched Monarch at all.
Oh, I
I've
saw
heard
the
that
first
it's
3
really
episodes.
good.
It's pretty solid. Like, it's well worth a look.
Nice. I'm not sure like where in the timeline that is or whatever. But if you haven't seen all the other movies, then you may not know where it is in the timeline either.
Yeah, it's from what I can gather, it's before and after anything that
Okay.
had been
Oh yeah,
released
because it's
at
2
it.
timelines. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know. Either way, this trailer, when you said insane, you were 100% right.
Yeah.
I can't tell if it's awesome insane or stupid insane or stupid awesome insane.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
It's like,
That's how I felt about Godzilla versus Kong, because like a lot of the human story in that movie was really stupid.
Mhm.
And it was like, it was obviously just like, we need to come up with some dumb reason to get these two to fight each other. So let's figure it out. And the humans have to deliver this insane dialogue and make these really terrible decisions left and right in order to line up all these things.
Right.
And to me, that's just like, okay, I get it. And like, I'm watching, I'm like, this is stupid. This doesn't make any sense. But I know this is going to lead me to seeing a giant lizard fight a giant ape. So I'm down. Can't wait for that part.
right.
Saved it for me. And this just kind of looks like more of that. Like, it looks like, Rebecca Hall is returning from Godzilla vs. Kong. Brian Tyree Henry is returning from Godzilla vs. Kong. And someone we haven't mentioned yet is returning from Godzilla vs. Kong. Godzilla. Apparently, Kong has to seek out Godzilla to get help fighting the giant orangutan.
Right. And Godzilla apparently crashed with Captain America in the Arctic. Because he's just frozen in a block of ice for some ungodly reason. Also,
yeah, I don't know how he's frozen like that.
Why in the ever-living hell is Godzilla's pink?
I don't know,
has
man.
Pink lights coming out of his back scoots? Like, what?
It's usually blue.
And like not emanating from his scales, like shooting out the back. It looked like it was actively like emitting. I'm like, okay, like you normally have blue breath, sure. But beyond that,
I thought it was cool.
What? Oh,
I thought it was.
Yes, but it just threw me off. I'm like, for 50 years, it's been like blue flame. I'm like, is this another Godzilla? Or like,
I don't know.
So
I don't know. That's a good point.
It did not throw me off in any bad way. It was just questions.
Yeah, for sure, questions. I thought it was cool. It was like same with the mechanical hand. It's like the equivalent of like Batman getting a new suit in the sequel. You know what I mean? And it's just like, let's figure out a way to get him a new suit to like sell more toys or whatever, like, so I don't know. I'm down with that. I thought that was cool.
Jesse
speaking
from
of Godzilla,
Funky Town Comics in the chat.
Oh, hey, Jesse.
Yes, we have Jesse and
What you
Brian
got,
at least
Jesse?
in the chat. I can't see the rest of anybody, but he said that he can confirm Godzilla -1 is the best kaiju movie of all time. I have no idea what the hell that is.
I was just gonna bring that up, Jesse. Read my mind, man. It's in theaters now. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to see it before it leaves theaters. It's a bummer, but there's a new Godzilla movie, like non-American Godzilla, legit Japanese Godzilla movie called Godzilla -1. That it was made for like $100 million or something, like, or 120, like a pretty low budget. Apparently, it's
15
spectacular. It looked. What's that?
15 million.
That's it?
That's what the budget says in Wikipedia.
Are you kidding me? 15 million? Okay. You got to at least watch a trailer for this, because this looks like a $300 million movie. And from everything I've heard, it's incredible. That it's like one of the greatest Godzilla movies that have been made in a really long time. And I'm dying to see it. And I'm bummed that I probably won't be able to get to see it before it's on streaming.
Some sort of streaming.
But yeah. So I just want to shout out Godzilla -1 for any Godzilla fans out there. It's supposed to be really good. And according to Jesse from Funky Town Comics, it is the best kaiju movie of all time. That's saying something.
It is.
Saying something. Gotta say.
It's a man who knows his kaiju.
All right, moving on. Moving on to the next trailer. Trailer for a movie I kind of forgot was happening. Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. It's a prequel to Mad Max Fury Road, focused on the character of Furiosa, originally played by Charlize Theron in that movie. The prequel, the younger version of her, will be played by Anya Taylor-Joy, who I think is a great actor. Looks pretty good in this movie. Chris Hemsworth is also in this movie. He looks like Thor.
And
Long hair, beard, looks like Thor.
yeah, and he's effectively playing like everything you see in the in the trailer is he's just playing redneck Thor,
Yeah, kind of.
like post-apocalyptic redneck Thor.
Yeah, yeah. What did you think of this trailer?
I thought it looked like a trailer. I don't know. It
Oh.
looked good. It made me
I thought it looked good too.
it made me want to watch the movie, but it was like I don't know if I gained or lost anything from it.
Right.
It made me remember the movie was happening.
I need to watch Mad Max Fury Road again.
Yes, same.
I saw that when it came out, and I liked it.
Mhm.
I didn't love it. And everyone, apparently, besides me, on God's green earth, thinks that's one of the greatest movies ever made. So I need to revisit that movie, and see why I'm wrong. I guess I don't know. I just like an outpouring of love and devotion to that movie. People say that should have won Best Picture, and it should have been, oh, this is the best movie ever. I'm just like, it was okay. It was good. It's entertaining. But I definitely need to
I thought it was a
revisit it.
level above you and a level below them.
Okay. All right. I got to get back to it.
Yeah, same.
But like this definitely reminded me of that movie. It looked very much. I mean,
Oh,
it's
100%.
it's also made by George Miller, made by the same guy. So it certainly looked on par. I thought there was a couple shots that looked a little green screeny. I don't know, it's a trailer, so maybe it'll get fixed by the time the movie's out. Like a couple, but I don't know. Maybe I was just looking too close or whatever. Couple green screeniness, and I remember the effects in the first one looked incredible in Fury Road. So no qualms about that at all. So yeah, I thought this looked good. I think Anya Taylor-Joy seems like a good pick. She seems like she's nailing it, and it just seemed kind of like more insane driving through deserts and wild action and stuff. So it seems if you're a Mad Max fan at all, you got to be loving the fact that you're getting something. I feel like Mad Max fans are starved lately for anything. So,
well, less starved than they
yeah,
were
I'm
in
down for this.
the 85 to 2015 gap, but yeah.
That's also true. I guess that's all I got to say about that. I'm looking forward to that for sure. And next, Steve, I know you're very much looking forward to a little show called House of the Dragon returning. This is it's like a kind of a teaser trailer. It's about a little over a minute long. Got returning characters, lots of violence, lots of dragons. Steve, what did you think about this House of the Dragon trailer?
It really, again, similarly, it made me remember that House of the Dragon was the thing. I feel like all these were getting like we were so used to years of a show having a year gap in between and all that, and like that's fine and normal and whatnot. And then it's like, okay, I think it set the stage for people remembering what happened in the first one a little. Because I'm not gonna lie, I had kind of forgotten. And yeah, I mean, it looks good. It looks like there will be like dragons and heartbreak and weird family shit and war.
Yeah,
and all of those things can function as a good movie show. I don't know whether they will, but they have the option to. Yeah, for sure.
Again, I thought this trailer looked good. It reminded me of like things that I did like about the first season, but I know I said this before, but like I thought the first season was fine. I'm not jonesing for more Westeros stuff, I guess. I might be done with it. I don't know. We'll see. What
we're learning today is Mike's done with everything. Everything except kaiju, Mike is done with right now.
I'm not done with Doctor Who. I'm back into Doctor Who in a big way.
True.
Reversal of fortune on Doctor Who. I am back in. So
yeah, I'll end up watching this. Cranky. I know I'll end up watching this because I know my wife will want to watch it. If not, as weird as it sounds, for all the problems of Rings of Power, I probably, if it was if it was the two of them up against each other again, I probably would go Rings of Power.
100%. I'm
Yeah.
definitely going to watch Rings of Power. I thought Rings of Power was great. I'm going to watch Rings of Power
Yeah.
for sure.
So,
Or
Yeah.
we could do a side podcast where I watch Rings of Power and you watch House of the Dragon, and we just tell each other what happened in every episode. We don't actually watch each other. That's just the whole
there you
podcast.
go. Saves us an
Explaining the
out.
series.
So we take the hour that we saved and end up talking to each other instead of watching the show.
Yeah. But obviously, we talk to each other for way more than an hour
Right.
each
Yeah.
time. It actually eats up more time of our lives than if we had just watched both episodes.
Why does that sound dumb enough to be something we would do?
I don't know.
But yeah.
Because it does. It just is.
Because
It just is.
totally is. Yeah. No, I think did they have a date? Did I miss a date?
I think it just said 2024. I don't think there was a date. There was a year.
Of course.
All I remember. So
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
we shall see. I mean, they got to be pretty far along. They didn't even stop for the strike, so they got to be close to being done.
Oh
filming
yeah,
that
because
stuff, right?
they were doing everything, and most of the actors are British anyways, and
Yeah.
so they didn't have
Same
that.
with Rings of Power.
Yeah, it's got to be
So
happening soon then.
yeah, something else is happening soon. A series. I did not know this was happening. I don't
Same.
remember reading about this happening, but I'm also not really in this world. This is something I have zero previous knowledge of at all. I've never played this video game.
Same.
Never met anybody that's played it, to my knowledge. But I know that it's a big, popular series. Fallout.
Yeah.
A new Amazon Prime series based on the hit video game series Fallout. Looks cool. Seems like it's kind of melding a lot of genres together. It's clearly like a post-apocalyptic wasteland thing. You know, just what's the dystopian future? That's the kind of phrase I'm looking for. But you know, also cowboys and Wild West kind of imagery.
Red Skull as a cowboy.
It's like Red Skull as a cowboy are words that I was literally just about to say until you said them. And then I said them anyway. Yeah, looks like a whole bunch of craziness. Robots or people in robot suits. I'm not sure which. I really liked the choice of songs that they had over the imagery that was going on. Like that was really cool and kind of set a tone that I vibed with pretty hard.
Yeah, and those, I think those were like mech suit type things where people were actually in them, like a Space Marines type thing. But yeah, I don't know. It looks, I can't tell if it's going to be stupid fun or like overly serious, but with a twinge of something, or like I can't tell what it's going to be, but it's got me. It's got the hooks in enough that I'm like, oh yeah. This actually looks like it's not taking itself too seriously, but also is a serious medium type thing.
Yes, I agree. It definitely looked like, because I was trying to, like I said, I liked the tone that the trailer was setting, but I couldn't really get the vibe. I was like, is this the vibe of the show, or is this just a cool trailer? Is this going to be like, is this going to lean more towards like Last of Us territory where it's like bleak? Or is it, you know, can we have some more fun with it? Like you were saying, is it more like Star Wars-y or whatever? Or is it more like, you know, bleak Last of Us kind of stuff? I don't know. Because it kind of has vibes of both of those things. Like trying to survive an alternate future where things have gone horribly wrong, but also like there's robots and ships and weird weapons and stuff, you know? So I don't know, maybe it's an exact mix of both of those things. But I don't know, because like I said, zero previous knowledge of Fallout. I have seen memes and pictures of stuff of people wearing those blue suits with the yellow stripes. Now I know where they're from.
Yeah.
So that's a thing that I know now. Have you ever played Fallout? Do you know anything about it?
No, I remember distinctly putting Fallout on my Christmas list at least one year and not getting it.
Oh, and you were like, screw you, Santa. You didn't give me
No
this game.
more
I'm never going to
Fallout.
play it ever.
Yep.
Never.
Just soured me for the rest of my life.
Well, if anyone out there listening or watching is a fan of Fallout, send us an email or shoot us a message. Tell us why we should care about it or what it is. Tell us about it. I'd love to hear about it because we don't know. Please. I'm serious. Let me know what it is.
It's like, no, I
Otherwise, I'm
actually
going to have to
want
play the
know.
game, and I don't have time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the original game came out in 1997,
Whoa. Whoa. Okay.
and then Fallout 2
That's
was
even-
98.
Okay. This is even more shocking to me. That long ago?
Yeah, Fallout 3, which was kind of a return to that was on, I don't know, whatever, PlayStation 3 and Windows in 2008.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of these games. I did not know there were this many Fallout games either.
My
Fallout 4
God.
was 2015.
Okay. So,
New Vegas was 2010. Yeah, there's been a lot of
My
Fallout
God.
76 was 2018. Like, huh, okay.
okay. I
Learning something
definitely
here.
had no idea that it started that long ago.
Oh,
This
yeah.
was a pretty I thought this was a relatively new and modern series.
Oh, no, when I said I had it on my Christmas
If I had to
list-
guess, I would have guessed that like the first game came out in 2015. Like
Right.
that, if I had to guess.
Gotcha. No, it was
Wow.
it was like I remember having Fallout 2 on my Christmas list for my computer.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
No idea.
Yep.
All right. So you at least have slightly more of an idea.
Oh
than
yeah,
do, but you
I
never
know
played
that it exists. I just have never played
Yeah,
any
okay.
of the 17 it looks like titles that are out.
Wow. Me either. And now I'm probably not going to because that's overwhelming amount of games to play to understand. this
And they
show.
kill
I'll
it.
just watch the show.
Yeah, there's Fallout 5 is TBD in development.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Cool. Well, now I really want someone to write in and tell me about Fallout. Like, is it one continuous story? Is different games different characters, or is it like one whole story that builds on itself? Like, what's going on here? And then, what is the series going to adapt? Is the series going to adapt game one? Is it adapting an overall arc? Is it taking things? I don't know. Those are things that I don't know and can't tell from this trailer. So, somebody tell us, please, please, please. Something else that I was begging for somebody to tell me. Updates about the 2 new Alien projects that are in the works, and we got them this week. And we realize, yes, folks, this is tangential to like nerdy comic book stuff because it's horror, but you know what? There's Alien comic books, and I'm a big fan of this series, and it felt fun to talk about it. So I think we've talked about these a little bit in the past, but Noah Hawley, known for show running the show Fargo and also Legion, the
Yes.
best X-Men adaptation ever, maybe
It's
into live action.
it's
Live
that
action?
it's like that and Logan are kind of your only options. So
Yeah,
yeah.
Logan is. Yeah, you're right. It's the only thing that gives Logan a run for his money.
Yeah.
I think. So good,
It really is.
so good. Watch Legion, folks.
Yes.
Watch Legion. It's on FX, I believe. Probably on Hulu.
Yes. Yes.
Anyway, Noah Hawley has been developing an Alien series for FX and Hulu, I believe, for a few years now. Announced cast members this week, including Timothy Olyphant, well-known actor who's appeared in Justified, Fargo, worked with Noah Hawley, and The Mandalorian. What's the name of The Mandalorian? I don't remember. Is that other
Oh,
Marshall
God.
guy?
Yeah.
Freetown?
Come on, brain.
Come on, Steve. you
Not
got
Jodo
this.
Cast. Nope, got nothing.
Marshall? He's the Marshal of Freetown on Tatooine.
Yeah, no.
Timothy Olyphant steals Boba Fett's armor.
Yeah. So
Gives it back to him.
Jodo Cast was where Boba Fett's armor came from in the expanded universe, and
Yeah.
not this.
Gets shot by Cad Bane, but ends up in a back tank at the end of that series.
Somehow
You're frantically looking.
I
aren't
am
you?
frantically looking. Cobb Vamp. There we go.
Cobb Vance. That's right. That's right.
Scroll and scroll
Cobb
and
Vance
scroll.
himself.
Come on, IMDb.
Timothy Olyphant leading Noah Hawley's FX Alien series. Other cast members include people I've never heard of ever in my life. A guy named David Riesdahl, who apparently also was on Fargo. Babo Cisse, Jonathan Ajayi, Arana James, Lily Newmark, who apparently was in Solo, a Star Wars story. DM Camille, and Adrian Edmondson, who was apparently in The Last Jedi. So, a couple Star Wars vets, although I'm guessing they were in smaller roles. So that's cool. This series was announced a long time ago, and this is the one I believe that is going to bring the xenomorph alien to Earth, I think. And it's kind of outside of the other films. It's not set within that timeline at all. So it's very interesting to see how Timothy Olyphant deals with that threat. We also got updates on Fede Alvarez's new Alien film that he is making. Fede Alvarez, who made a remake of Evil Dead that I think is really good if you're a horror person. I'm trying to think of the other horror movie that he made. Don't Blink? Or
That sounds something along
like that?
those.
Yeah, I don't remember which one it was. There's a lot of. I feel like there's a lot of horror movies that have the word "don't" in the title.
Don't Breathe.
Don't Breathe. Yeah, see, that was close. We finally figured out where this new Alien film is placed on the Alien timeline of films. Star Kaylee Spaney has clarified the film takes place between Alien and Aliens, though between the first two. However, has confirmed that it is a standalone film that is not concerned at all with the story of those two films or with the character of Ellen Ripley. However, she did say that they brought in a lot of the same people that worked on Aliens with James Cameron, like set builders and creature designers and things like that. So they got the original team, people that worked on Aliens, to come in and design and build their aliens, which I think is really awesome. Also, this movie also stars Isabella Merced, who not only is starring in the new Alien movie, but she's also in Madam Web, and she's in Superman Legacy. This girl's blowing up. She's going to be Hawkgirl in Superman Legacy, and she's one of the teenage Spider Women in Madam Web. So good for Isabella Merced.
Yeah, making that
roles.
nerd bank.
Making that nerd money left and right. Crushing it. Good job for you, Isabella. And I'm excited to see both those Alien projects, especially if they are both on Hulu. I'm really close to getting rid of Hulu, but if these are going to be on Hulu, maybe I'll stick around in my house, or at least will be renewed when they come out.
I was going to say Disney
sure.
seems to be pretty close to getting rid of Hulu too. So
yeah,
just roll it all into one and see what happens.
Yeah, I know. Jesus. All right, dude. You want to do some comic reviews?
Sure, we can do that.
Sure. You want to go first?
Oh,
or do you want me to go first?
I can. So I am looking at the new newest on the Amazing Spider-Man Spider-Ness.
Mm-hmm.
It is the start of a crossover event, Gang War First Strike. Not to be confused with the 1990 Gang War 5-issue arc in ASM. Again, it is written by current Spidey writer Zeb Wells, as well as Cody Ziegler. Cody Ziegler on the art. This is John Romita art on the cover, because John Romita. Joey Vasquez on pencils. I can say they did a very good job of making it feel like a Spidey story. And it felt very much like a Spider-Man tale. And it's all the street level villains. The whole premise is Madam Mask and somebody else have died. And they're looking, the villains have the gang leaders have a meeting to figure out who is taking over these territories or who's next or whatever. And they end up, one thing leads to another, and basically they end up with one of the members at the forefront of all of this dying and sending the entire 5 boroughs into a complete tumult. Basically, Spidey comes back from a long hiatus, gets called out by Miles for leaving, and gets called out by Luke Cage for leaving, and now he has to make good with Miles and the Defenders and stop this gang war. So
Wow.
this is going to be an ongoing arc through ASM, through Daredevil, through Luke Cage, and maybe through Spider-Woman.
Wow.
So it's going to be a pretty broad arc, but all street level. So
Nice.
ultimately in your neck of the woods. But
Yeah, for
you know,
sure.
art is, overall very standard. I mean, it's Cody Ziegler. It's standard Spidey fare. Feels, like I said, feels like a street level Spidey. Actually, maybe airs a little closer to how, like, you have Miles being penned in a similar way to you seeing him in most of his new works. So it's overall not bad.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean,
cool.
I would probably maybe I'll look into trades on that, mostly because I'm completely pot committed still on Fall of X. But beyond that, like, it may turn into something.
That's cool.
Got promise.
That's cool. Just the fact that you said that it feels like Spider-Man is great, because I feel like there's been a lot of criticisms of the Amazing Spider-Man run lately, not really feeling like Spider-Man.
Well, when I'm not going to lie, when I picked it up from Jesse, I was like, okay, great, Zebwell Spider-Man, phenomenal.
Oh man.
And I read it and I was like, no, this actually feels good.
Great.
Apparently,
Awesome.
Brian Rollins in the chat is all in on Gang War. Say Brian Reynolds.
Cool.
It's a guy I work with. So apologies, Brian. But yeah, he's all in on Gang War. I know. I'm glad to see that my initial assessment seemed right. So
yeah. Cool. My book that I'm reviewing this week is not a new book. It came out a couple weeks ago. But I didn't get to stop in to get a recent one. The book I'm reviewing is The Deviant by James Tynion IV and Joshua Hickson. Joshua Hickson on art. And I believe letters by Hassan Atsame El Hau. I'm pronouncing that right. Probably not, because I'm bad at pronunciations. But The Deviant, A Christmas Story is the subtitle, which is why it's coming out now. This was great. I'm not sure how many books are in this series, or if it's just going to be an ongoing.
9.
9. Okay. I will probably pick up these 9 books. Or at least the second one, because I just need to know more of what's happening here. This is very much a stage setter, but in a way that is very gripping and very investing. It's a horror book, should say that straight up. The Christmas story that they're talking about, not a holly jolly Christmas story. This is a pretty disturbing horror book. And I can't really show you too much. I mean, I can show you pages.
So it's standard recent Tynion fare where
it's
a little on the graphic end.
It does not feel dissimilar to Something Is Killing the Children.
Yep.
In the way that it's written.
It's not quite World Tree. Can't show anything.
No, it's
but
no, you're right. Not quite World. I can show you stuff, but like the stuff I can show you kind of looks like it would be a boring book. Like there are pages and pages of these two guys talking, but the writing is so good that like you're just gripped by the story of what they're talking about. Like
nice.
Literally like just pages of those two having this interview. Anyway, so main character is a comic book writer who is looking into these murders that took place when he was a kid and wants to base a comic book off of either those murders or the murderer. So he is interviewing the man accused of committing these murders. And these are murders that were committed by somebody dressed like Santa Claus in a weird mask underneath the hat and beard. And this guy has been in jail for 50 years. He says he didn't do it, but he understands the world thinks he does. And he's like, there's been movies made about him and everything. And, he's just rotting in jail.
Right.
So, a lot of this conversation is the conversation between the two of them is the gripping point of the book, and the excuse me, I'm gonna cough. Excuse me. The convicted person is gay. The writer is gay. So the convicted person is trying to kind of bond with him about that in some and they kind of do in a certain way, but not in a like you know, I mean, because the guy that's convicted is also, he's not just convicted of being a murderer, he's convicted of being you know, a deviant, like a sexual abuser at the same time. And so part of the comic book author is saying, oh, I'm nothing like you and blah blah blah, and guys like, well, maybe not completely, but you know, I don't know, there's it's very interesting. And you know, it's something that James Tynion is openly bisexual. I think he has the authority to tell a story like this and to deal with themes like this in a way that doesn't feel gross, doesn't feel inappropriate, and just feels interesting and compelling. And spoiler alert, at the end, there is a seemingly, maybe it's the same killer, maybe it's a copycat killer, I don't know. There is another masked figure dressed like Santa Claus that is on the prowl to try to kill some people at the end. So will this mean that we'll find out that the guy that's been in jail 15 years didn't do it? Or is this a copycat? I don't know. It's a very intriguing story, very gripping, pretty disturbing, and don't read it if you're not into horror books. But I thought it was excellent, and I'll be reading the next one for sure. The art is great. The Hickson's art kind of reminds me of like, not dissimilar to like a Lee Weeks style or like a Batman Year One kind of style. Lots of heavy shadows.
Nice.
Lots of like, this is, you know, all that stuff with like the snow and like the blood and the snow and stuff is like really, really well done. Just you know,
yeah, like
gripping.
you said, it seems like it's kind of the same palette they used for like especially the early issues of Something's Killing the Children. Where that very different art style, but kind of that same color palette. Yeah,
for sure. Heavy on the shadows, lots of black.
Yep.
It's great. It's great. And I know Funky Town did a midnight release for this book a few weeks ago when it came out. I'm pretty sure they still have some copies, some variant covers that are still there. It's definitely worth reading.
Some deviant
if you're into
covers.
Horror books at all. And you know, like you were saying earlier, Steve, it's Christmas time. If you're a horror fan, you want a fun, no, sorry, not fun. If you want to like a Christmas tie-in,
enjoyable
horror
read,
tie-in, enjoyable, yeah,
not fun.
And check it out. Yeah, not fun, but good.
Feel good story of the year, The Deviant by James Tynion.
Yeah, Jesus, not that at all, but a gripping tale, for sure.
Nice.
What else is coming out in your local comic book store this week? You got Alpha Flight number 5, Amazing Spider-Man number 39, Avengers number 8, Batman number 140, Batman Santa Claus, Silent Night number 1. Oh yeah. Birds of Prey number 4, Buffy the Last Vampire Slayer number 5 of 5, the end of that series, Daredevil number 4, Fantastic Four number 14, Fire and Ice, Welcome to Smallville number 4, and also regular old Fire and Ice number 2. Hunger in the Dusk number 4, Invincible Iron Man number 13, My Little Pony Camp Bighoof number 5, Poison Ivy number 17, Scooby-Doo Where Are You number 125, Sentry number 1, Shazam number 6, Star Wars number 41, Star Wars High Republic Adventures Phase 2 number 1, Stuff of Nightmares Sleigh Ride number 1. The list that I had said Stuff of Nightmares Sleigh Ride number 1 and 2 are going to be out this week. I don't know if that's a misprint or what, or if one's a reprint. I don't know, but they might both be out there. I don't know what that is, but check it out. Seems like a Christmas tie-in. Thunderbolts number 1, Venom 28, and Xmen 29. Steve, I know you're pulling Hunger in the Dusk.
Yeah, absolutely I am.
Is that still banging?
Yeah, the first 3 have all been phenomenal. Which that's a testament to G. Will Wilson's creative writing at this point. To take a fairly rote orcs versus humans and kind of turn it on its head with a little extra. So a lot of fun there. I don't think I'm picking up Superman #1, the Marvel version.
Sentry, yeah.
High Republic Adventures, I don't know. It's the #1 for Adventures, so I might. But yeah, the overall, Alpha Flight, X-Men, I think maybe Invincible
You still doing
Iron
Alpha
Man.
Flight too?
Yeah, it's all part of Fall of X-Men.
Oh, that's in there. Okay, yeah, sure.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, the whole first part of Alpha Flight was Alpha Flight fighting Alpha Flight
Wow. All right.
to try and
Interesting.
what were they trying to pull the wool over on the Canadian government, thinking that
it's always-
all of Alpha Flight was not converted to the mutant cause, or I don't know, whatever. But it was cool to see Alpha Flight back. Like, it'd been a while.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. On my two polls are on this list, Birds of Prey and Poison Ivy. So I'll be getting those. I'm also gonna be picking up
Poison
Batman.
Ivy still hanging in there at 17? Like, I read the first two
Yeah,
arcs
dude,
or
you
so.
know what? I was about to drop it, not because it was bad, just because I'm trying to slim down my pull list, and I've been pretty successful with it. I just read the last 2 issues, I think, a couple weeks ago, and they were piling up, and I was like, oh, no, this is still great. And it's still really good. So
Very nice.
Poison Ivy still crushing. Birds of Prey, excellent series so far. Very excited to read Batman, Santa Claus, Silent Night. I don't know if you remember, Steve, but we when they announced this series, we talked about it. And this is Santa Claus needs to recruit the help of his former student, Batman. Former student.
Yep. I remember seeing that in the
this-
description.
Yeah, and that DC is saying that this takes place within continuity. So this isn't some just like Christmas story. This is DC Comics saying, no, when Bruce Wayne went to train around the world to become Batman, part of that training was with Santa Claus. So I am 100% gonna get this and see what that's about, because I can't imagine. But I bet Batman could probably sit down a chimney if he really wanted to. And where else do you learn that kind of thing?
That's true.
I think that's all I got, Steve. No one-shots tonight.
I'm just picturing the Batman and Scooby-Doo version of Batman trying to fit down a chimney and getting stuck, and hijinks ensue.
Yeah, sure. It'd be funny if, like, from now on in DC continuity, they every once in a while have to reference somehow that he's learned something from Santa, like before he like climbs up a wall or something with his bat rope, he has to lay a finger aside of his nose and shoots his grapple gun. Something wild.
Crazy.
Oh man, comics are crazy. Don't you love comics? They're so wacky and wild.
I do.
I love them too.
It's so ridiculous half the time that it's even better.
Yeah, agreed. But dude, yeah, I think that's all I got. You got anything else?
No, nothing else that jumps at me. I would say at this point, if you're still listening, you should probably hit that subscribe button. If you're not still listening, you're not hearing this, so I don't know why I'm saying anything. One other thing, we're going to start hitting it at the top of the show. Please be on the lookout for information on Syracuse Collectors Con. That is the week of 16th and 17th of March. That weekend over at the New York State Fairgrounds for anyone in the greater New York State area. Here in Syracuse in the Horticulture Building. It's a 50,000 square foot expo hall that will be filled with your favorite nerdery. Mike, to put it in perspective, the hall that we were in Saratoga was 20,000 square feet. So if they can fill the Horticulture Building, it's going to be a big one.
Yeah, for sure.
So
we'll be there.
Yeah, like, subscribe for all of your updates and needs. Check out the Simon Birks interview that we plugged at the beginning of the podcast. And check us out on socials, the Multiverse Report, wherever you want to find us, in all the places we actually look. TheMultiverseReport.com, TheMultiverseReport@gmail.com if you want to toss anything along for them.
Yeah, we're on Instagram, we're on Threads, we're a little on Facebook, but mostly Instagram and Threads.
Technically on Blue Sky, I think.
Yeah. Anyway, this was a good show. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for talking to me, Steve. You know what?
Yeah,
I always thank everybody
absolutely,
else. I never thank you. Steve, thank you. Thank you.
It's
for talking.
appreciated, Mike, and thank you.
Yeah, you got it. Well, until next time, only one thing to say. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And we'll see you in the multiverse.